passing of President Forbes Burnham, a founding figure in Guyana's history. Whether or not one agreed with his politics, his role in shaping the nation is undeniable. May his legacy continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of strong, principled leadership in difficult times. Of the passing.
Welcome to another episode of Shura's podcast. Well, what can I say? Today is going to be a very spicy one. A lot of secrets are going to be revealed. A lot of negative things are going to be said. And I am sure that the viewers are going to be captivated by this. So yesterday, as you all know, the Guyanese public know that the ERC made all the parties come together to sign a peace, something like they're gonna fight against a MOU, something, right, about the integrity of the elections, blah blah blah. So here comes Hannah Mohammed. So I don't. What's her middle name? Khalida. Camellia. So that's how come I get it with the Mia Khalifa thing, because it's Khalida. But sorry, Hannah, I can't remember everybody's name. And she was explaining that how Forbes Burnham was such a great leader, such a great person. He was so great that we had to eat rice flour for many, many years. And as I said on my podcast yesterday, not me, but my grandmother family used to smuggle grapes when they come into the country, right? And it was such a big thing. I wanted to start off this podcast funny because I have Bling here, who's y'all know the comedian Bling. And Bling said he wants to run for president 2030. So I asked him, I said, Bling, why you run this time? And he said, no, two clowns can't run for president at the same time. Azadine done running. How two clowns can act in a show? So I had to laugh. I couldn't start off the podcast serious. But anyways, let's get back to the point. Disclaimer, not clown. Bling didn't say that, right? But last night the laugh off was excellent. We had an excellent turnout. I hope to see you guys on the 15th again. This is the 19th, and it's gonna actually be at the poolside now. We're gonna change the venue, and it's gonna be really nice. We had coffee ugly bad. Not coffee by the square, coffee the comedian. But both of them is the same. But anyways. And who else we had last night? Jermaine was great. But I feel like Jermaine is the same joke all the time. But anyways, we can get back to that. I'm gonna tap you up with a little extra to come back with something, right? But let's get back to the serious topic of this podcast. So I want to read something to you about Forbes Burnham and the negative legacy of Forbes Samson Burnham. And when we say a vote for Azadine Mohammed is a vote for PNC. Could we pause this podcast for a second, please? I'll go on commercial. So, thank you for holding for a few seconds. I got to knock off my producer. But anyways, so let's get back to some serious politics here, because elections is what, 26 days away from today. And yesterday, Hannah Mohammed came out to praise our founding father, Forbes Burnham. And before I get into that, I want to say that the U.S. Ambassador, Nicole Tarriott, had said that she is not interfering with the Guyana elections, as Mohammed is claiming, but she was stating the facts of who he is and what he was sanctioned for. And because the U.S. plays such a pivotal role in the world's economy, as you know, the U.S. is everybody's big brother. I read an article, or I was watching a press conference where Trump said that this is the sixth war he has stopped as the president of the United States in such a short period of time. Trump just two Saturdays ago sent out 2 stealth bombers to bomb the shit out of Iran, and it was a 27-hour flight to clear their nuclear program because they weren't getting along. So you know Trump don't play. And of course with his ambassadors, he's going to want updates on what's going on about sanctioned people in the country. Now this man don't even want to lift the sanction on Russia, but he's trying to clear up a war in Ukraine. And he wouldn't give a fuck about Azzedine Mohammed. Azzedine Mohammed thinks, and he has gotten advice from his overseas lawyers, that if he somehow gets into parliament, it will be easier for him to get out of these sanctions. And we keep on telling this guy, well, this boy, over and over, Jim Jones Jr., right? That's his new nickname, Jim Jones Jr., that he cannot get out of these sanctions. You already smuggled the gold. You already get sanctioned. Can't happen. So, Hannah Mohammed, let me give you some educational advice, because I know at 14, your family told me that you used to drug your parents, put sleeping things and pills in their coffee before they go to, or the tea before they go to bed, and you would run off and do what you need to do. But none of my business, by the way. This is just what your family said. It's not what I am saying. And if you would like to know which one of your family say it, you can call me with your number and we can have a discussion. And I can let you know. I'm going to show you the conversation, right? That's one. 2, let me give you the negative legacy of Samson Burnham, the man who took Guyana to the trenches. You guys ever heard about the Mariana Trenches? Or the Mariana Trench? It's the deepest trench in the world. And that is where Fort Samson Burnham took Guyana back when he was not even elected president of Guyana. He rigged elections. It is declassified documents that said that the U.S. funded a 28-day slow fire thing in Guyana, I don't know what it's called, right? That cost Guyana 28 million US to install Lyndon Forbes Burnham. And here comes Hannah Mohammed saying that he was such a great leader. Well, let me educate you, child, because I understand that you're overprivileged and you didn't have that much of an education. Lyndon Forbes Guyana, the shadow of a leader. Examine the negative legacy of Lyndon Forbes Samson Burnham in Guyana. That is the topic for today. Right? That is the topic for today. Lyndon Forbes Samson Burnham, a pivotal figure in Guyana's history. a dangerous figure in Guyana's history. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect all former presidents, whether they were great or whether they weren't. But we have to speak the truth, and sometimes the truth is the best way to get people to understand when we say a vote for win is a vote for APNU. So Guyana's history led the nation from 1964 until his death in 1985. He first served as Prime Minister and then the first executive president, while often praised for securing Guyana's independence and promoting self-reliance. Again, the key word here is promoting self-reliance. He promoted self-reliance so much that he didn't want us to import flour. He wanted us to take the rice, grind it up, and make rice flour. That is what the Win Party, that is what they want to take us back to. They want self-reliance. A critical look at his actions reveal a darker side. His policies has negatively impact across cultural, economic, and political aspects of this nation. This article explores the detrimental effects, offering a research perspective and a less celebrated parts of Burnham's legacy. Economic decline and mismanagement. Burnham's economic policies, driven by his cooperative socialism and self-reliance. Again, we're coming back to self-reliance, where he used to ban every import into Guyana. He wanted Guyana to be self-reliant. But we didn't have oil at that point. We can't be self-reliant. What will you drive we carry with? Water. Guyana is a land of many waters. Or water, so to speak. Led several economic decline. A key part of his strategy was the nationalization of major industries like the bauxite and sugar. This was meant to give Guyanese control over their resources, which is great. But it negatively impacted the country. However, it often resulted in inefficiency, mismanagement, and a significant loss of skilled workers who left this country by the droves. I don't know if my viewers know or understand, but there are more Guyanese abroad in Canada, the US, UK, and other parts of the world than actually citizens that are living in Guyana. And you know why they left? They left because of the punishment that the PNC and the Burnham-led government at that time did to them. Basically, they were stifling the Indo-Guyanese population and the Afro-Guyanese population to some extent. Because if you got grind, me going and grind no rice and make flour, I can just got eat rice whole day. You could even get sardine. There were a few businessmen that became filthy rich in Guyana at that point because of smuggling. And people just wanted to buy the stuff. They were buying it at any price. So, Hannah, I'm hoping that you're watching this podcast and retract your statement of what you said about Forbes Samson Burnham. Because his presidency, just like your brother's presidency, was a failure. And it's not a failure. It's a disaster. Forbes Burnham, again, took Guyana back 40 odd years, where we were just in front of Haiti. So it was the worst country in the world was Haiti, and then it was us. But then you have likes like the Kian Jabours, right? That come and want bash the PPP government and say, oh, well, our corruption rate is just right behind Haiti. But who put us there, Kian? Who put us there? You wanted a minority government, you all form AGNU. You were part of that problem. Because if the PPP had gone into office, and we didn't have a minority government at that time, and we didn't lose that 5 years, we could have been 40 years ahead of where we are right now. So you are also to be blamed. You go on your little life and you go and you say, oh, the PPP, blah, 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 blah. But I pay a light bill. You can't pay a light bill and then you coming out and saying about you going to gas to energy plant where you're going and see how for thief light. It's nonsense. Stop coming out there and telling the people that you're telling them the truth. Do like what we do at Sheriff Podcast. Say the truth, nothing but the truth, and that's it. You're telling people to go Google. They should Google you. You can't even run Taco Loco. And taco is something, I said this before. The shell, the cell, all you gotta do is boil the meat, put your little thing, and done all your flop. But anyways, let's get back to what Hannah said. His presidency was marked by economic stagnation. Ghana struggled to export enough sugar. For example, the nationalization industries lacking expertise and capital failure to maintain production and profitability. The main reason the sugar estates and the sugar industry never recovered in Ghana is because of Forbes Burnham. Because he took it upon himself to nationalize this industry and not to export it. Now, when you do that, you're opening opportunities for other countries to export sugar, rice, and all of these things. So everybody wants to blame the PPPCO, the estates here, the estates there. But guess what? Forbes Burnham was the one who made it collapse in the first place. So this combined with the 1970 global oil crisis pushed Ghana into deep recession. The Produce and Perish campaign aimed at self-sufficiency came with strict import bans on essential goods like flour, split peas, potatoes. This caused widespread shortages on a blooming black market, which is that a few businessmen got filthy rich, right, while doing this. And great suffering to the Guyanese people. Failed projects such as the glass factory, well, we all know, I'm sure the older folks know that the failed glass factory further show the economic mismanagement of the Forbes Samson Burnham era. These policies isolated Ghana from international markets and investments. This stifled economic growth and severely lowered living standards. Ghana, once a promised independent nation, became one of the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Political authoritarianism and human rights abuses, right? Burnham ruled, became increasingly authoritarian. He systematically dismantled democratic institutions. He held on to power through rigged election, suppressed opposition, human rights abuses. For instance, in the 1968 general election, basically he just rigged elections. And we saw that 5 years ago. They tried to pull one over us again. Used an overseas vote, which was widely believed to be used to rig the elections in favor of his party. So again, opposition parties and voices were systematically silenced. There were credible reports of state-sanctioned violence, arbitrary detentions, and physical abuse of prisoners, and even summary executions by the police. The assassination of historian activist Walter Rodney in the 1980s is a clear example of a regime brutality of the Burnham's government, which was later found to be complicit in his death. Burnham's government was also criticized for handling of racial violence, particularly in 1968, which led to the death among of Indian and African communities. Their actions created an atmosphere of fear and distrust, damaging national social fabric. This led to many Guyanese leaving the country, seeking political freedom and asylum and economic opportunities elsewhere. Cultural and social erosions, right? Burnham policies also negatively impacted Guyana's cultural and social landscape. His focus is on a singular nation identity, often seen as Afrocentric, marginalized other ethnic groups, especially Indo-Guyanese population. This fueled the economic division that we have today, a sense of alienation among non-African communities, hindering the development of truly a unified national identity. The import bans through economic motivated a significant cultural effects. Many traditional foods and goods vital to our cultural practices of various economic groups became scarce. This forced communities to adapt, sometimes losing part of their cultural heritage. This emphasized on self-reliance. The unintentionally led to cultural isolation, limiting exposure to diverse cultural expressions. So you couldn't express yourself, basically. The suppression of the dissent and authoritarian environment also stifled artistic and intellectual freedom. Artists, writers, academics often face censors, leading to less vibrant cultural scenes and brain drain caused by economic hardship. Political repercussions, what is this word, producer? Repression, further deprived the national and international creative talent. This impacted the long-term development of Guyanese culture and society. In conclusion, I want to say that the Linden for Burnhams remains a complex and controversial figure in Guyana's history. While some praise his role in the independence and self-reliance, a critical look shows at his presidency self-harmed Guyana. His economic nationalism caused widespread poverty and shortages. His political authoritarian eroded the democratic freedom and human rights. His social and cultural policies worsened ethnic diversion and stifled cultural expressions. This legacy of his rule is one of the deep economic declines, political and social fragmentation from which Guyana continued to recover from until this day. Understanding these negative impact is crucial for the balanced view of Burnham's leadership and the lasting effects on the nation. Let me explain something now since I finished reading off of the teleprompter. I don't like this teleprompter thing. I like to express myself, and that's the best way I can do this podcast. But it was a long thing, I can't remember all I little dunce. But so let's get to a famous topic in Guyana, the Jim Jones topic. Forbes Burnham was the one who gave Jim Jones the authority and the permission to form his own city, as you know, in the Essequibo region. And we all know what happened, that Jim Jones was who he was. He was a pastor, he was a cult leader, and he eventually became a cult leader to a point where people couldn't bear it anymore. So people left the United States and they followed Jim Jones to Guyana. And Forbes Sampson Burnham gave him the permission to take part of the land and build his community and his nation or whatever he was trying to build. And as you know, the famous story of when this people started to complain that they weren't hearing from their families that are in Guyana, they weren't getting letters. I don't think there were phones back then. Maybe there were phones, but those fax phones. So people start sending letters to the United States Congress, and a congressman decided to visit Jim Jones and his cult to see what's going on. He wanted to do an investigation. And by doing so, everybody was nice and dandy tonight, until one man slipped a note into the congressman's hands. And while slipping that note, somebody told Jim Jones of what's going to happen. So the next morning, the congressman was ready to leave, and he asked the family if they want to leave with him, and they said yes. Everybody else said no, because of course they are afraid of Jim Jones and his and the cult and whatever was going on. And Jim Jones famously executed, or put somebody to execute, in front of the tarmac where he's entering that plane. Executed the congressman. Now, Jim Jones, as smart as he was, and he is, knew the repercussions of that. The United States Army would have come into full effect, because that's a treasonous crime in the United States or anywhere in the world. So what he did is, we all know the famous Kool-Aid drama, and where he killed everyone. And this is the legacy that Hannah was trying to defend yesterday. The founding father, and praising Forbes Burnham. Now, I'm going to move off this topic because she's of no relevance. She's not even on the candidate list. I'm going to move on to Azadin Mohammed. And I think as days goes by, and as the days are coming shorter and shorter, and he realizes now that he cannot and will not be president of Guyana, he now is starting to spread propaganda and lies blatantly on camera. And the lies he said, and I think the video is showing behind me right now, and the audio is probably going to show, or you're going to listen to it a little later. It's saying that, he's saying that, who sanctioned me? And he is telling people that the PPPC government sanctioned him. How do you ras? For more than a year now, you've been sanctioned. You went to Barbados, you snitched on your fellow, or you allegedly snitched on your fellow people that you were doing business with, like Junior Baksh and Rondell Davy and some other people that you were doing business with in the US decided to sanction them as well, allegedly. And you're now claiming that the PPP sanctioned you? Ladies and gentlemen, a vote for win is a vote for APNO. There's backdoors dealings going on, and y'all know how we like backdoor dealings. I don't know how you're going to interpret that, but interpret that the way you feel like. You know, I respect this guy, the poor people governor. He lives in Canada, and he says the truth and nothing but the truth, and that is what I believe. He's not a PPP supporter like I am, but how can you claim that the PPP government sanctioned you when you were sanctioned for basically smuggling X amount of gold out of Guyana sanction for drugs, sanction for public corruption, and now you're coming closer to election, you're telling the people of Guyana, or the people at your rally, the very few people at your rally, may I say, that you were sanctioned by the PPPC. You're blatantly, you haven't gotten a vote yet, and you're starting to lie. So imagine when you get into Parliament what you're going to do. As Nicole Tarriott said, the US ambassador, that she cannot be in certain environments with you. If you're in certain committees, she cannot be with, they have to be very careful on who they're dealing with. You see, the US doesn't just pull up files about people from now. They have files on probably everyone in Guyana for the last 20 years or however long you've been born. And she said today that she's not interfering with the Guyana election as Mohammed is claiming. She's saying she's just stating the facts. Now, I've watched that interview, and all the ambassador did was state the facts. She didn't say anything else. In fact, one of the reporters asked her another question, and she said she cannot speak on that at this very moment. So, how is it that we have Guyanese people that are believing Azadine Mohammed? This guy wants to be Barajagdeo so bad that one of his insiders tells us that at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. he locks up in a room, right? And he watches Barajagdeo press conference to get narratives for his rallies and what to put out. Now again, by me saying all of this and the truth, and saying the truth about Forbes Burnham, I'm one of the most famous man on TikTok right now. I scrolled through TikTok last night. Every 3 videos I scrolled through, I did it. Till I get fed up. I was like, shit, why are you really popular on TikTok? Right? I need to start, the editor, can you start a TikTok page for me? I think I don't have a TikTok page. Right? But I'm very famous on TikTok apparently. So, people are believing what T. Mohammed and Azadine Mohammed have to say. But my view on all of this is to educate the population over and over for them to understand where I'm coming from. And for the younger generation from 18 to 34, and persons who are on the borderline of voting, because we all know APNU fell apart. We all knew WIN is a failure. You could tell by their turnouts. GCOM had to send out a press release for this man not to give out money or gifts or donations to people to buy their votes. I see in Kaiser News today, I don't know if it's true or lie, that now you're allowed with your phone in the polling booth. I briefly read the front page. I actually glanced at it at the office. So think you have 26 days more to elections, and think about who and what you're voting for. What do you want? Do you want progress, or do you want a smuggler? Do you want infrastructure, or do you want a man who has fun on a boat with 40 different nationalities and defame women? Do you want to vote for a party that gives you economic freedom and understands the power output that Guyana needs in the next 5 years? Do you want to vote for a party that can give you cash grants, stick to their word, give you toll-free bridges? Or do you want to vote for a man who has gotten sanctioned by OFAC, that is from the US Department of Treasury, and lying to you blatantly and saying, is Jack Deo? He is so obsessed and mentally challenged that he wants to be Jack Deo so bad. Imagine the man came to my bar to ask me to stop my podcast because I am doing harm to his political campaign. And he is my father-in-law. And I don't want him. And if family members are coming out, you remember Sarah Abraham came about his family member that she doesn't think he's fit to become president. She's endorsing the PPPC party. Remember his uncle that gotten sick the other day said that him and his sister has a social media following. So if a man's own family is coming out to talk about him and to say that he's not fit, and they know him personally, then who are you, a stranger on the road, or listening to him and believing in him? There was a story where Azadeen Mohammed allegedly, I cannot verify the facts of this story, but like we said, this podcast was going to be a spicy one, and we're going to reveal some information slowly as the days comes out. So he had a young woman held up, and she's willing to testify. Held her down by force, right? Held her down by force to get some information about her whereabouts. She was a young lady at that time, right? Held her down by force. Had his security held her down by force. That's one. Two, allegedly, I cannot verify this information. This information I'm about to say is not verified and cannot be taken seriously. But what I've heard is that Azadeen Mohammed chopped off a man's hand. Well, his wrist. Then paid him off because he stole from him. This is the type of candidate you want? You remember when he was allegedly testing out his high-powered rifles, and he shot the 14-year-old and he paid off the family? This is the type of candidate you want to vote for, to put into parliament, because he's not going to be president. So why waste your vote? You might as well vote for one out of the two major parties. Of course, vote for the PPPC. But my point is facts are coming out, and these facts are alleged. I know the young lady is willing to testify. Azadeen Mohammed is such a manipulator that he said to someone, I'm not going to mention names on this podcast, stop seeing your daughter. I want you to stop seeing your daughter, or else I'm not going to pay child support. Not mentioning any names. Azadeen Mohammed is being taken to court sooner rather than later because a certain someone is giving us information and saying that he's not paying child support. But yet, he has money to go out there and donate. Is this the type of leader you want? Is this the type of person you can tolerate in parliament? Well, he's going to get 1 or 2 seats. He's going to get no say. He's going to be a clown in parliament. He cannot put two coherent sentences together. I hear a rumor that every time he has to go to a rally, that Odessa Primus got a ruler and say, hey, no, this is what you gotta say. No, don't say it that way. And lash you in your hand. This is the rumor I hear. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep you too long on this podcast. But Hannah Mohammed clearly don't know who and what Forbes Burnham did to this country, this great country of Guyana, which led us down a path of 40 years of isolation. 40 years, up to now we can't even recover back the sugar industry. And you can, and this is the person you're going to praise. And no doubt that Forbes Burnham was a decent guy. Not saying that. Not saying that he wasn't whatever it is. But a vote that could clearly show you everything we've been telling you on Sheriff's podcast is completely true and correct. Because not only do we have the evidence, we have the facts. And when we say something today, it happens tomorrow. We've been saying a vote for Win is a vote for APNU. And so showed the evidence yesterday that when Hannah Mohammed, I was shocked when she mentioned Forbes Burnham name. I was like, wow. Amir, how more right can you be? And then you have the crazy coming out there now, realizing that he can't be president, blaming the PPPC government for sanctioning him. He feels, as Anil Nandalal said, he feels by being in parliament that it's going to be harder or it's going to make it easier for him not to get extradited to the United States of America. But he will. The banks have closed his accounts. All people associated with his accounts. And I'm warning the Guyanese population. Everything I say come true. When you take pictures, you go to his rallies, they're all video. And he puts them up on his page. The US now, I don't know if the US has a spy department, but the US now, if they have a vested interest in this man and extraditing him, they will go take all your pictures, they will revoke all your visas, the banks will revoke your accounts, you will lose your house, you will lose your cars, you will lose your bike loans, you will lose everything. So, a vote for Win is a vote for your life, your future to be messed up. This guy here that is showing on the screen right now, he has a mental issue. He has a mental block. He has grown up in a privileged home. He doesn't even know the price of egg. The man, when he announced his campaign, says people are struggling to buy egg ball. Poof, I turn on but the egg ball stand because I hungry. I hear you say egg ball. You know, I fat and I heavy and use Ozempic. So when I hear little food bang, I just want to go and eat, right? The egg ball stand had about 40 people lined up. I said, nah. Something wrong here. How can egg ball be expensive and the line's long? So, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's coming out there to tell you what you want to hear. He's paying you for your votes. He's donating, as he claimed, donating money now, right? But as GCOM said, it's not acceptable. I hope GCOM does something about this. I want to say this before I end my podcast. Vote PPPC. When you're voting in that box, make sure that you vote and your X goes on that line. Your X doesn't go on that line. Your X goes in the box. It should not touch the line. It should not go outside the box. Vote for your future. Don't look at the turnouts that the PPP Civic is getting. Take all your family, all your friends, all your enemies, and you guys go out there and vote. Now, there's a guy called Amir Hussein on TikTok. I will show it to my editor a little later. And he's saying some vile things about me, that I'm crazy and I am this and I'm that. And I really don't care about you, Amir Hussein. The man said I got on a Bugatti watch valued about 600 and something thousand US. And the man said I look worse than the people out there. Now, that's your opinion of me, that's your opinion of me. But I work hard, buddy. Maybe you might see my face a little dark as you complain, but I work 24 hours a day. I probably get 3 to 4 hours a day sleep. That's why I'm so successful of what I do. I try to earn legal money. I don't try to earn illicit money, Amir Hussein. Right? And we will get to you tomorrow on my podcast. Because you're a disrespectful individual. You said that I don't give charity or zakat. Let me remind you that we feed orphanages. It is on the First Lady's website. We look after kids. But we're not Azzedine Muhammad and T. Muhammad. Every dollar we give, we must put out there. Every Ramadan, for the past 20 or 30 years, my mother and father and myself, now I've took it over, Ramadan month, sir, we feed morning, afternoon, right? And we make sure that they're well taken care of on the month of Ramadan. I don't need to tell you the rest of philanthropic work that I do. That's not who I am. My parents taught me to be humble. Maybe yours need to teach you the same. You're just an asshole, basically, trying to pick on me. But guess what? As I said, 50% of the population hates me, 50% of the population likes me. I really don't care. My skin is thick. But I just want to let you know. Don't come with this Muslim brothers and sisters and Hindu and Christian thing to me. This is about politics. This is about people's life. This is about people's future in Guyana. How about you look at that? Clearly you're a member of the Win Party. Not a member, or you're a fan of the Win Party. Clearly you can't think properly up here, because if you can believe a man who said to PPP sanction him, then something is wrong with you. Now, I didn't want to bring up this topic, but it was funny to me that you're comparing me to Azzedine Muhammad. You can't compare me to Azzedine Muhammad. You know why? Because I have a good heart. I don't need to go show what I give and what I don't give. That's not me. That's not who I am. Yes, I might put up one of my nice car and my nice, but that I pay full duty on, by the way. Right? But that's all I do. And I'll put up my watches because I'm a very big fan of watches. Right? This is a Jacob & Co. Bugatti watch, by the way. So, if you didn't know, stop trying to insult me to tell me that I look worse than the person out there. And you know, frankly, I don't care if I look worse than the person out there. Right? I'm here to educate the population of what and who Azzedine Muhammad and T. Muhammad are, and they are now putting your family at risk and you at risk for your bank account being seized, your visa being revoked, and we're going to put your picture up tomorrow. You better believe that. Or I might come back on a podcast in about 5 minutes to put your picture up. Right? because you are one of the people that should think about who you're voting for and your family. Anyways, like I said, I'm a fan of the PPP. As you see, I'm repping the PPPC shirt today. Very proud of it. I don't do this. I'm not a member of the PPP party. I'm not affiliated with the PPP party in any way, sort, or form. I don't get paid to do this. I want to say shout out to the Brazilian grill on Sheriff Street. It's open from 3 p.m. buffet until 11 a.m. buffet to 3 p.m. And then the full menu is available all day long. Our Sheriff Bar is located opposite Sanjay's Jewelry on Sheriff Street. It's open from 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. You can come have an enjoyable time. We have a pool. We have live entertainment. We have music. We have an outdoor scene. Soon coming this Sunday, the pool hall is going to be ready to open. Check out, if you're in Region 3 and you need your money to be changed, check out Secure Cambio. And of course, if you're sick, you're ill, and you need treatment, the private hospital is available, and our medical center on Sheriff Street. And also check out Greenfield Meats at the Diamond New Highway. And I just want to turn back. This individual here, Amir Mohammed, is speaking about me. Look at his condition. He can't comb his hair properly, right? And he's saying that I look worse. Not because I wear one shirt don't mean I can't afford another shirt, you know. Anyways, I'll catch you on the next one. See me back in 5 minutes about Amir Hussein.
I was sanctioned the 11th of June 2024. And you know where the sanctions come from. Yes. You all know. I ain't gonna tell the people. Yes, we know who behind the sanction. All right. I was sanctioned the 11th of June.
Of the passing of President Forbes Burnham, a founding figure in Guyana's history. Whether or not one agreed with his politics, his role in shaping the nation is undeniable. May his legacy continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of strong, principled leadership in difficult times. Of the passing of President Forbes Burnham, a founding figure in Guyana's history. Whether or not one agreed with his politics, his role in shaping the nation is undeniable. May his legacy continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of strong, principled leadership in difficult times. Of the passing of President Forbes Burnham, a founding figure in Guyana's history. Whether or not one agreed with his politics, his role in shaping the nation is undeniable. May his legacy continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of strong, principled leadership in difficult times. Of the passing of President Forbes Burnham, a founding figure in Guyana's history. Whether or not one agreed with his politics, his role in shaping the nation is undeniable. May his legacy continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of strong, principled leadership in difficult times.
U.S. Embassy, see who Amir Hussein is. I want the banks to know that this is who Amir Hussein is. His profile is, well, clearly, we can see his name is Problem Child 137, right? Amir Hussein. Maybe the man is jealous. I buy a couple bikes and them thing, Ducati and them thing, right? But this man, hold on, just scroll on. This is a video of me. He calling me, what is he calling me? He's calling me kind heart. He's calling Muhammad a person with a kind heart. Scroll to the next one. We don't really need to look at these scripts and these. Look at this man condition. Watch. Watch. Look. Well, hold on. He got business. Let me go down. He sells speed bumps, as you can see. And I am calling on all Guyanese who's not voting for Win to boycott his business. Look, this man is clearly obsessed over me. Clearly obsessed over me. Look. Look. Go to the next one. Clearly, go up. Hold on.
He's a fan.
You know he's an obsession. Look. So clearly, let Amir Hussein know that. What was it? Shake? Look, hold on. What the man selling? Was this explosive? He's selling there? Go down. Right? Picking, he got a couple cow here. He's selling, he got a business somewhere. Oh, look, right here. I want the public who's not voting for Win. Watch, he making fun of Azadeen. Poor Azadeen old grandfather, just because the man come out and say that he don't want to support Azadeen, if jealousy was a person. Come on. This is the type of supporters Win have. Look. Telling me that I beat my wife. Right? Look. Man clearly obsessed over me. Watch. 90% of his TikTok is me. It's best he just give me over his TikTok profile. Look. So I hope the US Embassy is taking a clear look at all the banks in Guyana. What is his business name again? Let's put him up. He wants sometimes, you know, when you bark up the wrong tree. His number is 6257984. Go back. No, he has a business name. Hold on. It's called Hussein something. Oh, it's called Zabir Cell Phone Plus Phone World. Right? This is the type of people that are convincing Guyanese to vote for Win, but they ain't know what they're talking about. They can only criticize. They don't know what they're talking about. But if you are a PPP supporter, I think you should boycott this man's business. Zabir cell phone, whatever it is. He's selling chair, table. Well, you gotta stick to selling chair and table for the rest of your life, because the US Embassy now is gonna see this. He's a Win supporter, right? I hope the banks are seeing this and close his accounts and take his loans away, right? I hope they see this. So sometimes you gotta bark up the right tree, partner. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. This was a very spicy podcast. We'll catch you tomorrow with some more spice.